So hi guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Okay, so in this video we will be solving the questions from our kinematics GPP. So without wasting much time, let's directly get into it. Okay, so let's start. A hall has a dimensions 10 into 10 into 10. A fly starting at one corner ends up at a diagonally opposite corner. The magnitude of its displacement is nearly. Okay, so in this question, what happens is that we have a hall, a cubical hall basically. So let's draw a cube. So our cube is somewhat um, like this. Okay, and it is given. This is 10, 10 into 10 into 10. This is 10, and basically it is height is 10 meter, of course. Okay, so a fly starting at one corner ends up at a diagonal opposite corner. So let our fly be somewhat like here. Okay, um, let this be our fly. Okay, so let us go. It goes from one this corner to the diagonal opposite corner. So what is the diagonal opposite corner? This one here, right? This corner. So a fly travels from here to here. Okay, so we are asked what is the magnitude of the displacement. So what is magnitude of the displacement? Magnitude of displacement is nothing but the diagonal of this cuboid, which is basically uh, 10 square plus 10 square plus 10 square. So basically it's 10 root 3, as simple as that. So this one is your answer. There was nothing in the question, right? You need to find a diagonal of this cube, as simple as that. Now, if it in this case, if it was a cuboid, right, with different length, breadth, and height, then we could have done simply root over L square plus B square plus H square, and we could have got our answer. Okay, so no problem with that. Let's moving on to the next question. It is given a car travels from A to B at a speed of 20 km per hour and returns at a speed of 30 km per hour. The average speed of the car for the whole journey is. Okay, so in this question we are asked to find the average speed of the car. Now tell me what's average speed. It is simply total distance by total time, right? Now since it's distance, okay, we will only take the magnitude. Now we see that at first it goes from A to B with 20 and then it returns. So actually it's returning back. Its net displacement is 0. So if it was asked what is the average velocity of the car, it would have been 0 because its net displacement is 0. Okay, but we are asked what is the average speed of the car. So we need to find the total distance by total time. Now tell me, let us consider, let the distance between A and B D. Okay, so basically the thing is ki suppose um yeah, so here is our A and let's suppose here is our B. So we take this distance to be D. So what is the total distance that I have traveled? First I have went from A to B here, all the way from A to B, and then I return back. So tell me what is the total distance traveled? It's simply 2D, right? The total distance traveled in the numerator we get 2D by the total time. Now while traveling from A to B, what was the time taken? The car is traveling with a constant speed of 20 km per hour. Okay, so what is time taken from A to B? It's simply d divided by the speed u, which is 20 kilometer, because first it travels from A to B, right? So what is the time taken to travel from A to B? The total distance between A to B by speed during this time. So during the first half of the travel it is 20. So the time taken in the first half is d by 20. And by returning, what's the time taken? It would be d by 30, because its speed increased to 30 by returning back. So time taken would be less, d by 30. Okay, so what I get is what is the average speed. So the average speed is simply what, 2d, sorry, 2d by d by 20 plus d by um, 30, right? So as we can see, the d cancels out. So what we get is 2 into 20 into 30 by 20 plus 30. All right. So basically, it's 20 into 30, 40 into 30 by 20 plus 30 is 50, and this cancels out. So it's 120 by 5. So basically, it's 24, 24 kilometer per hour. Okay, 24 kilometer per hour. Okay, so 24 kilometer per hour is my answer here. Simple question. No, and not much issues with this, I guess. All right. Now, third question. It's more or less the first one. See, it says that the body covers one third of the journey with the speed 2, next one third with a velocity of 3, and rest of the journey with velocity 6 meter per second, the average speed. So here it's traveling in the forward direction only. So basically, it's like the first question. There is no need of taking the direction into play here. Okay, so we will take the distance as d, and accordingly we'll find the total distance is d, and the time will be taken would be d by 3 distance by speed. Like in the first half, it's like uh, 1 minute. Yeah. So in the first half, what it's saying, it's traveling with 2 meter per second. What? D by 3. If the total distance is d, so it travels d by 3 with 2 meter per second, and then it covers the next d by 3 with 3 meter per second, and next d by 3 with 6 meter per second. So that what will be the time for this much time? What this time taken during this interval, right? So it's distance by speed. So d by 3 into 2, and here would be d by 3 into 3, and here it would be d by 3 into 6. Okay, so adding this, we get a total time, right? And sorry, yeah. So simply now my average velocity would be this total displacement, which is d by this d by 6 plus d by 9 plus d by 18, I guess. So we will get the answer here. Simple as that. Okay. So I'm not getting into solving this. You can do it by yourself. Okay. Yeah. So coming on to the next problem. It is given a car runs at constant speed on a circular track of radius 100 meter, okay, taking 62.8 seconds on each lap. What is the average speed and average velocity on each complete lap? Okay, so what we are given is that we have a circular track, okay, and it has a radius of 100 meter, and it takes 62.8 seconds on each lap. So time is equal to 62.8 seconds, right? Now what is 62.8 seconds? This is a special number, right? It's not just an ordinary number. It of course has some meaning. Now 62.8 can be written as 3.14 into 20, right? Now what is 3.14 pi? So it's approximately equal to 20 pi seconds. Okay, so this is my t is equal to 25 seconds. Now it is given that what is the average speed. Now what is average speed? Average speed is nothing but total distance covered by total time taken, right? Okay, so what is that? What is total distance covered? The total distance is nothing but the circumference of the circle, right? Because it starts from one point and ends here only. So it's equal to 2 pi r by 20 pi, which is the total time. So basically it's 2 pi into r is your 100 meter, and 20 pi, right? So this cancels out, and so we are left with 10 meter per second. So this is my average speed. Now coming on to what is the average velocity, right? So you tell me, what should be the average velocity? I mean, is there anything that we need to compute or something like What is velocity actually? Average velocity. Average velocity is nothing but total displacement by time, right? Time taken. Now tell me what is the total displacement of the car during its course around a circle. Okay, so it's nothing but zero because wherever it started after completing one lap, it ends at the same point, right? So its total displacement is zero. So the average velocity would turn out to be simply zero. Okay. So what should be my answer be? Right here, the velocity is 0 and speed is 10. B, I guess. Yeah. So B is the correct answer. Okay. So coming on to next question. What do we have here? Okay. So what are we given? We are given the displacement of a body is given by 2s is equal to gt square, where g is a constant, the velocity of the body at any time t. Now what is velocity? Velocity is simply dx dt, right? Where x is displacement, and here the displacement is represented by s, so it is simply ds dt here. Okay, so what's our equation? It's 2s is equal to gt square. Okay, now let me make this a bit thinner, I guess. Yeah, this is better. Yeah, yeah. So now differentiating on both sides with respect to t, what do we get? Like 2 ds dt is simply d dt of gt square. Okay, so what is ds dt? Ds dt is simply v. So 2v is equal to g comes out. So g of d dt of t square, which is nothing but 2t. So g into 2t, right? So 2 cancels out. So basically my answer is v is equal to gt. As simple as that. Alright. Now this is one generalized way of solving problems. Okay, like if a relation is given between s and t of any format, right? If like it's here s is proportional to t t square, right? So it may be proportional to t cube, or it may be a polynomial of t square t cube, or maybe a sine function or cosine function, anything, right? So now this same problem could have been solved by a equation known pretty well by us. What's that? That is simply because, one sec, yeah. So basically, if we bring this 2 in the denominator, what do we have? S is equal to half gt square. So basically, does it look? If we can write in this one like 0 into t plus half gt square, right? So does this look familiar with any equation known by us? To me, it looks, yeah. So that what we have in the second laws of motion, like s is equal to ut plus half at square, right? This is what we have. So it has taken this format only because here a is a constant and here your g is a constant too. So here a is your g, comparing we get that this a is equal to your g, and that your initial velocity eu is equal to 0 and u is equal to 0. So what is my velocity? Velocity is given by v is equal to u plus at, right? So basically 0 plus gt. So basically gt. So we can do solve the same problem in this format only. Okay, but I would prefer the previous approach because it can solve a wide range of problems involving any relationship between S and T. Okay, that's what you need should follow, I guess. Yeah. So coming on to the next problem, what it is given: a particle has a velocity u towards east at t is equal to 0. Okay, its acceleration is towards west and is constant. Let xa and xb be the magnitude of displacements in the first 10 seconds and next 10 seconds. Then what we need to find, xa and relationship between xa and xb. Okay, be the magnitude of displacement in the first 10 seconds and next 10 seconds. Okay, so let me do one thing. Its acceleration is constant and towards the west, and it is moving with east, initial velocity u towards east, right? So what we do, we take the initial velocity u as some u naught I cap, right? And let the acceleration be towards west. So acceleration is like Acceleration is something like minus some a1 or a minus acceleration is some minus a I cap. Let it be a only. So some minus a I cap because it's in the west. So it's given let x a and x b be the magnitude of displacement in the first 10 seconds. Okay. So tell me what would be the displacement in the first 10 seconds? Xa, that will simply equal to ut plus half dt square, right? Half at square, ut plus half at square. So u is your u naught into what is t? T is 10 plus half into what is a? Here is it's a negative, right? So minus a into 10 square, which is 100 basically. So it's 10 u naught or u. It's given actually u. So I should take u only. One sec. Let the u this be u only. Yeah. So yeah. Um. So even this is u. 10u minus 50a. Right? Yeah. So now what? Now xb is the displacement in next 20 seconds, next 10 seconds. So what is x plus xb? Xa plus xb is the net displacement in the first 20 seconds, right? So what would that be? That would be your u into 20 minus half a into 20 square, which is 400. So 200, and here is 20 u minus 200. So I'm having insufficient space here. Okay, let me do it below. Yeah. So what's my xa? Where did it go? Yeah, here. So xa is simply your 10u minus 50a, and xa plus xb is 20u minus 200a, right? So what is xb? Xb is simply your 20u minus 200a minus 10u plus 50a. So basically that gives me 10u minus 50a, right? Yeah. Have I done it correctly? The ut minus half a t square, 10u minus 200. So 200 plus 50. Sorry, this would be 1 minus 150a. Yeah, 10u minus 150a, right? Now what do we have? What is the So let x and x is magnitude of displacement. Then we need to find out xa less than xb, xa equal to xb, x greater than xb. The information is insufficient to decide the relationship between xa and xb. Okay, so basically the thing is we are talking about magnitude here, right? So what is the magnitude? Xa is simply your 10u minus 50a, and xb is your 10u minus 150a. So tell me something. Is it possible for us to comment about the magnitude of x and xb? Here we have mod. Okay, these are actually positive. We need positive values. Magnitude, we need positive values, right? So this is positive value of this, and this is positive value of this. So with this much of information, knowing nothing about u and a, can we comment about the magnitude of this? Okay, so you may say ki yeah, so this a is positive, u is positive. So obviously 10u minus 150a would be lesser than 10u minus 50a. But that's not the question here. We are talking about the magnitude. Suppose this amounts to be something like let's say 15. Okay, u and a are parameters, right? We can choose anyone, right? So if this amounts to 15 and this amounts to be like suppose minus 30, so here xb is actually less than xa, right? But the by magnitude wise, now this becomes xb becomes more because magnitude would be 30, right? So with knowing nothing about u and a, we can't comment about whether which one is greater or which one is less. So according to me, the answer should be D here. Okay, answer is D, I guess. Yeah. So this was an easy question, actually. Okay, just a bit of common sense. Many of you might have done the mistake of like writing the XB is less than XA, but we have this thing, magnitude of displacement, right? It's not just displacement, it's magnitude. So we can't comment about that. Yeah, fair enough. So now the next question is similar, I guess. The body starts from rest and is uniformly accelerated for 30 seconds. The distance traveled in the first 10 seconds is x1 dash, next is x2, x1, x2, and then x3. So you can do this in same format, right? Ki take the rest is rest means u is zero, right? So accordingly, you take it. You take acceleration to be a, and then you find out the displacements in x1, x2, x3, and then take the ratio. It's simple. I am not solving it right now. Okay. So coming on to question number 8. What do we have? A stone dropped into a well in which the level of water is h below the top of the well. If v is the velocity of uh, a sound, the time t after which the splash is heard is given by. Okay, so what we have is we have a well here. Okay, suppose this is a well, we have water here, down here, right? So this is your water, the water reservoir. This is your water. This is water. Okay, and the level of water in the is below the top of the well. So this is the top of the well. So this is your h. Okay. Now what we do is we drop a stone from here. Okay. So when would we hear the sound of the splash? Okay. So think logically. It's not much complicated. So at first you are here at t is equal to 0. Okay. You are here. You have this stone in your hand. Okay. Now you drop the stone. So the stone travels all its way up to here. It hits the surface of the water. Okay. So now the sound waves have to travel from here to here in order to reach you, right? Only then you can hear the sound. You can't hear the sound instantaneously, right? It hits the water. The sound waves need to travel this distance h before you hear it. So what we need to what is the time? The time is simply the time taken by stone to hit water surface plus time taken by sound to reach our ears, right? So what is this time taken by stone to hit the water surface? So this is h. So what we know, initial velocity is 0, right? Initial velocity is 0 because we drop it from the surface, and your acceleration is equal to g, acceleration due to gravity. So this h, if t is the time, t1 is the time taken by this to hit the water surface. So what is t1? So we know that h is equal to 0 into t1 plus half g t1 square. So what is t1 from here? T1 is simply root over of 2h by g. So this is equal to t1, and now we need to find a time taken by sound to reach our ears. So now sound has to travel this distance. Okay, so if v is the velocity of sound, so what is the time taken by sound to reach from here to here? Sound is now the sound is constant, velocity is constant, right? So time would be simply distance by speed. So it is simply h by v, right? It is simply h by v. So what we have is what is the time taken? This is t2, right? So total time is simply root over of 2h by g plus h by v, which is option B right here. Okay, so it was nothing, it just needed a bit of clarity, and it's a quite simple question according to me. Okay, now coming on to this question, what we have here. Yeah, the coordinates of um 1 second. Yeah, um The coordinates of a moving particle at time t are given by 5 is equal to 10 sine 10t, and 5 is equal to, and y is equal to 5 cos t. The speed of the particle is, okay. So these are the x and y coordinates. So we can represent the position vector r by simply 5 sine 10t I cap plus 5 cos 10t j cap, right? So what is velocity of the thing? What is the velocity of the particle? V, that is simply equal to dr dt, right? So that is basically 5 into 10 cos 10t I cap minus 5 into 10 sine 10t j cap. I just differentiated both sides with respect to t. So this becomes 50 cos 10t I cap minus 50 sine 10t j cap, right? Yeah. So this, what is the speed of the particle? Um, yeah. So what is the speed of the particle? Yeah. So now we see ki what should be the speed, right? This actually, the velocity of the particle changes at every moment. Now if you see properly, what does this represent? I'm just trying to give you an idea of the thing. So tell me, what is x square plus y square? So from here, x square plus y square is simply 25 sine square 10t plus cos square 10t. This is basically 25. So basically it represents the locus of a circle. Okay. So basically the particle is moving along a circular track. So while moving with a constant velocity, constant speed, not a constant velocity, the direction keeps changing. Okay, but the magnitude remains the same. So basically, it has a this is a position vector of the particle Ra. This is 5, and this is your omega t, omega is 10. So this is represented by 5 cos 10t and 5 sine 10t, right? And velocity at this is tangential, like this, the velocity vector. So at every point on this circle while it travels, it points at around here, at here. So velocity keeps changing, but its speed remains the same, right? So what is the magnitude of this? What is the speed of the particle? That is simply v, mod of v. So what do we find mod of v from here? It's simply root over of 50 square. Um, uh, okay, I'm having sort of space here. 1 minute. I'm writing it here only. Yeah. So what is mod of v? Mod of v is simply root over of 50 cos 10t whole square uh, plus minus 50 sine 10t whole square. So basically, sorry, yeah. So basically, it's um, 1 sec. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, it's 50 square cos square 10t plus sine square 10t. Now this is equal to 1. So this is simply equal to 50. Right. So now see, irrespective of what the values of cos 10t or sin 10t may be, right? Cos may assume different values, and sin may also assume different values while it goes across around a circle. But since this cos square t plus sin square t has this constant value of 1, we can say that the velocity of the magnitude of the velocity of the particle around the circle is constant, right? So from here we can say key um, the velocity is the speed of the particle is 50. We can't call it velocity because it's changing, right? So it's 50. Yeah. So coming on to the next question. Okay, what do we have here? We have a body moves with velocity v is equal to ln x meter per second, where x is its position. The net force acting on the body is zero at, okay. So net force acting on the body is zero at. Okay, just tell me something. What is force? Force is your m dv dt, right? So now applying chain rule, we can say that this is simply m dv dx into dx dt. Applying chain rule, you know chain rule, right? Yeah. So applying chain rule, we can say same thing. Now what is dx dt? Dx dt is simply v. So this is simply equal to mv dv dx. Now you would be thinking ki, why did I write force in this format? What was the problem with the dv dt format? Yeah. So what prompted me to do this was, when I looked at a question, I saw that the velocity is given is a function of x, right? Like I don't have t here, so I can't use the t as a parameter here, or I can use it, but it would be difficult for me. I need to bring it in, right, from other ways. So I don't need to do it, right? I can simply use the relationship. If I have a relationship between v and x in any of my equations, it becomes easier for me. Now see, I have force is equal to m dv dx, right? So v is, according to question, v is ln x. So now computing dv dx from here is easier for me. I can do it in one statement, right? Dv dx is simply d dx of ln x. So it's basically 1 by x, right? Mv dv dx. So mv is ln x from the equation, and what is dv dx? It's nothing but 1 by x, and that is equal to 0. So from here I can say ki ln x by x is equal to 0, right? So uh, x can't be 0 because otherwise x ln x wouldn't be defined. So from here I can say ki ln x equal to 0. So x is equal to t plus 0, that is equal to 1. Okay, so here we have x is equal to 1 meter here. So that's my answer. Okay, uh, that's my answer. And moving on to the next question, what do we have? Yeah, it is given that a body of mass 1 kg is acted upon by a force F is equal to 2 sine 3 pi t I cap plus 3 cos 3 pi t j cap. Find its position at t is equal to 1 second. If at t is equal to 0, it is at origin. Okay, so it is given that at t is equal to 1 second, it is at t is equal to 0 second, it is at origin. So we need to find the position at t is equal to 1. So what we can see is f. What is f? F is nothing but m into a, right? So let me erase this part because I would be needing it. Yeah. So that is simply equal to 2 sine 3 pi t I cap plus 3 cos 3 pi t j cap. Now m is equal to 1, right? So your acceleration is simply equal to this quantity. Now what is acceleration? Acceleration is nothing but dv dt is equal to 2 sine 3 pi t I cap plus 3 cos 3 pi t j cap. Now what is v? Now we integrate, right? So what is dv? dv is simply 2 sine 3 pi t I cap plus 3 cos 3 pi t j cap dt, right? So now we tend to find velocity at any time t, right? And we know that initially at 0, it starts from t is equal to 0, right? So initially it's at origin, so its initial velocity is 0. And let's say at any time t, its velocity is v, right? And even then t is from 0 to any time t. Okay, so what do we have from here? From here we can see that velocity is v minus 0, that is equal to um, what is integration of sine 3 pi, right? It's minus of cos, right? Yeah, so it's simply 2 by 3 pi, and the coefficient of t comes below, um, cos 3 pi t I cap, and this is from 0 to t, and integration of this is simply sine, right? 3 by 3 pi sine 3 pi t from 0 to t j cap. So this is equal to minus 2 by 3 pi cos of 3 pi t minus cos of 0, which is equal to 1 I cap, and plus 3 of 3 pi by sine of 3 pi t j cap, right? Yeah, so we can basically cancel this thing out. So this is what we have. Now we need to find displacement, right? Because we are supposed to find uh, position at t is equal to 1 second. So we need to bring r into here, right? Yeah. So what is v? It's dr dt, right? So now your dr dt is equal to this thing, this entire thing. So what is dr? Dr dt is equal to this thing. So what is r? Dr, sorry. So it's basically minus 2 3 pi cos of 3 pi t minus 1 I cap plus sine of 3 pi t by pi j cap into dt, right? Yeah. So it is given ki at so we integrate it, right? So it is given ki at t is equal to 0, it is at rest at it is at origin, so x is 0, and let's suppose at any time t it's no, we don't have to find at any time t, we directly find at t is equal to 1 second, because that's what we are asked in the question, I guess. Yeah. So that is displacement v r only. So and this is from 0 and this is to 1. So r is equal to minus 2 by 3 pi minus 2 of 3 pi into 3 pi below sine of 3 pi t I cap, where t varies from 0 to 1, okay, and plus of 2 by 3 pi 1 minus 0 I cap, and plus of minus of cos of 3 3 pi square and t j cap, where it varies from t varies from 1 to sorry 1 to 0. Yeah. So from here what we have minus 2 by 3 pi whole square sine of 3 pi t I cap, as 0 this becomes 0, plus 2 by 3 pi I cap minus cos of uh, minus cos of 3 pi uh, minus 1 j cap by 3 pi square. So something like this comes. Okay, so what are we asked? Find its coordinate, right? So for t is equal to 1 second, we need to find a coordinate of this. Okay, so t is equal to 1 second. But this is whoa, how am I getting t? Sorry. So this would be this thing, right? Yeah. What is this thing? What is sine of 3 pi? So what is sine of 3 pi? Sine of 3 pi is what we have. 3 pi is, what is 3 pi? 3 pi is 540, right? 3 into 180. So 2 pi is 3 pi. So it's simply equal to 0. This tends to 0. This becomes 0. Okay. And from here, what's cos of 3 pi? Cos of 3 pi is cos of 3. What is cos of 3 pi? Cos of 3 pi is minus 1, right? So cos of 3 pi is minus 1. So from here, what we have is simply 2 by 3 pi I cap minus of uh, 1 minus 1, and so minus 2 basically. Minus 2 we have in here. minus 2 because minus 1 from here and minus 1 from here. So minus 2 to minus into 3 pi square j cap. So this is simply 2 by 3 pi I cap plus through 2 by 3 pi square j cap. So this is nothing but which option? Yeah, option B, right? Yeah. So this is nothing but option B. So this is all for today. We'll be continuing with this GVP in the next class. Thank you for watching our video. Keep supporting us. Bye.